Do you want to go out of the sun? Would that be helpful for you? Looks okay.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We are just waiting a few minutes for some classrooms to join and we'll get started. While we're waiting, let us know where you're watching from in the chat. Teachers, if you can also check your name and change it to your name, that will help us know who you are when asking questions. Welcome, Witch Hazel Elementary, Hillsboro Dual Language. Welcome, Lennox Elementary 5th grade. Welcome, Barnes Elementary 4th grade dual language. Welcome, 2nd grade at Quatama Elementary School in Hillsboro. Welcome, LeMay Home Academy in Hillsboro. Welcome to Lennox 3rd grade. Welcome, 4th grade from Groner Elementary. Welcome, City View Charter School 2nd grade. Okay, hello again, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this virtual farm field trip. We are live today in Hillsboro, Oregon at Sparrowhawk Farm. My name is Hannah and I'll be the moderator today. Before we start our tour, I want to go over a few logistics to make sure we have a great experience. We've muted everyone and everyone will remain muted throughout the tour so everyone can hear our tour guide clearly. If you have questions, you can send them to us using the chat feature. Please only type questions to us in the chat. This will help us see questions and ask as many as possible. It is now my pleasure to introduce our host and tour guide for today's virtual field trip, James Brahman. Take it away, James.
Hi, guys. Welcome to Sparrowhawk Farm. It's a beautiful day. We're enjoying some really nice fall weather here. Excited to show you how we do it here. There's lots of ways to grow food, and this is just one way. We're a pretty small farm, but we can grow a lot of food. We feed about 80 families a week, pick up boxes from our farm. We serve restaurants, and we also go to farmers markets along with people coming to the stand. So it's pretty impressive how much food you can grow on 2 acres is what we're farming on. And I want to start off the tour with showing you one project that I'm working on right now, which is rain catchment, which is really awesome because you never know when your well or some irrigation issues might happen. So it's good to have a backup and also to collect clean rainwater that's sustainable. So we partnered up with Clean Water Services in Tualatin Water and Soil, and we installed 30,000 gallons of water catchment here. Each one of those tanks holds 5,000 gallons, which if you think about a gallon of milk, that's a lot of water. Each one of those weighs something like 20 tons, which is incredible. Their water is extremely heavy. And the plan is we'll use this water to overhead irrigate all of our crops out here. I was really surprised when we were setting it up and I was working with them that I didn't think that we would have enough surface area on the roof to fill up 30,000 gallons, but that roof in the state of Oregon here in Hillsboro will collect over 120,000 gallons of rainwater every single year. So it's pretty impressive. I think it's something that should be happening a lot more places. And I'm going to show you guys some of the ways that we plant things. If you guys have any questions about the water collection, please let me know. Right now we're walking through a lot of things that have been taken out during the summer season. In the spring, this was all peas and broccoli. I'm going to be putting in a cover crop that helps keep the soil really healthy so that next spring I can work up the field again and then I can replant it. But we still have some things growing, but we're slowly but surely planting things that can survive over winter when it gets freezing to freezing temperatures. And most of it's going to start going into the greenhouse. But I wanted to show you how we seed a bed one way. Sometimes we transplant things like these beets behind us. I transplanted these and they'll be ready in a few weeks. But some things we direct seed by using a seeder. We use a jang, has a wheel inside with brushes, and it spins and it takes the seed on this gear, kind of like your bicycles, and it moves and it puts the seeds down. And then I have in the seeder here, it moves this chain just like on your bike, which moves this wheel moves it. And then this is like a miniature plow and goes into the soil, makes a furrow, and then the hopper drops the seed here, and then this covers the seed and rolls it flat. I will show you. I'm going to be planting some electric neon Swiss chard. Pretty awesome. That's what the seeds look like. What's really cool about these seeds is actually each one of the seeds is about 2 or 3 seeds in one. Put a bunch in here. Okay. Just clicks in. You can see, I'm going to show just how, before I put it in, you can see the seeds coming out. Always try to get that going so I know that the seeds are coming out. You see them falling right here. Go do it one more time. So now I'm going to go like this. When I walk down the bed, it's putting about a seed every 2 to 3 inches. And you can see it's nice and flat, covers it, and makes it so that the seed can be covered in about an inch of soil so that when it rains, it can germinate. If the seeds were on the surface, then they dry out and they wouldn't germinate. Chard, I just do 2 rows. So that's one. This guy's the other one.
So James, we do have a question from Miss Rio's class, and
Okay.
they want to know why or how there can be 3 seeds in one of those seeds.
Okay. So not exactly sure why, but how I can explain is there's a few seeds like this. Like if you think of a seed that everybody knows, right? That's like a sunflower seed. It is like one singular seed. It has a shell covering it. And then there's a one seed inside of it, or like radishes. Most things have one seed, but these ones, you can kind of look at them. They're almost like a seed pod where they're connected. And so it's kind of like a looks like a dice, but each one of these, see, there's 3 seeds there on each side. And there's a lot of trees that are like this, and seed pods. I think, chard and beets are actually related. So their beets are the same. Look, the seed looks the same. And trying to think of some other seeds that are multiple seeds. It is pretty cool, but yeah, they do sell some seeds that break them apart, but I think it's a good thing. See, look at that one. That one has 4. It's like a little die. Anyways, pretty simple seeding. That's the easy part. Now the hard part is making sure that it germinates, which thankfully the weather's going to be really nice. So I was waiting to do this until we had some sunny weather. And then we got to wait, and it'll grow. And in about 2 months, I'll have some chard. Can show you too some of the other seed shapes that we have to use for other types of seed. So chard is a pretty big seed, but for carrots, they don't have round seed. They're kind of shaped like a football. So I've got a catch in there that can take the little seeds and plant those ones. And then I have one for really small seeds like arugula and kale. And then things like radishes are a little bit bigger. Of course, it doesn't have to be perfect, but every single one for a different thing. They make a lot of these. These are just the ones that I use. Can show you guys some of the, yep.
We have another question asking, you keep using the word germination. What does that word mean?
I'll show you. So germination is when you have a seed that will become eventually a plant, right? So you can see these little leaves here. This here is mustard seed that I seeded probably like 3 days ago, and it's germinated and sprouted. These are the cotyledon leaves. When it starts out, a lot of them all look the same. You can see this is arugula and this is a mix kale, but basically what germination is, or what it takes for all seeds to germinate, is moisture and temperature. So some seeds are hot weather things and they need it to be really warm for the seed to germinate, like tomatoes or peppers. Those ones I have to do in a greenhouse, or I have to make sure I do it in the summertime. And then things that are brassicas, which are in the kale and mustard and radish, grouping family, they can germinate in cold temperatures outside right now. But basically all germination is when a seed becomes moist enough and it literally comes to life, and through the soil temperature raising, it sprouts. I don't know if you guys have ever seen like sprouted wheat or something like that. Could try to show something. Dig up one. This is too many in here anyways. This is a perfect example. So look at that. You can see the little seed, and it was nice and moist. There's enough moisture because you need water. Everything needs water to grow. And then it got hot enough and it sprouted a little top. And now this will grow into a huge plant. Mustard's a whole family of things, but mustard's a spicy green. It's like lettuce, but a little bit spicier. And it can survive. The reason why I'm planting it right now, this one used to be a squash bed. You can see over here, I've got some other squash. I got to take this out in 2 weeks or so, because if it gets down below 32 degrees of frost, it'll kill them, and it'll also make them make all that field before that happens. A lot of things don't mind, like beets, mustard, kale, arugula, they can all be frozen and then they come back to life once they thaw out. So basically that's what I'm trying to do in this whole field. Is I'm going to take out, these were all onions, and we had beets here also, and we had what do we have leeks, and I'm taking all this stuff out and I'm going to basically turn it into this. But I'm going to show you the greenhouse. We got some good stuff in there.
While we're walking there, Miss Karen's class wants to know, how many years have you had this farm?
Good question, Miss Karen's class. It actually is not my farm. I met the owners 6 years ago and asked them if they would let me grow some food on it. So I have only been here for 6 years. And in fact, everything out here in the field with the greenhouse wasn't here even 2 years ago. So we've been pretty busy. But so you guys, if you ever wanted to grow something, you can find somebody who has some land, and as long as you're really nice, they'll let you grow some stuff. But this is pretty cool. This is our greenhouse. We do a lot of stuff in greenhouses. I have 2 more greenhouses like this on the other side of the property, but this is the easiest way to grow a lot of food in a small amount of space. And especially for me and my team, because we only have 2-3 people working here, it means that we can grow a lot more food with less people. And you can't really tell, but when you step in here, it's nice and warm in here. And that's all just powered from the sun. So every layer of plastic is like going 1 grow zone south. So it's like going to a warmer place, even without adding any heat. And if I wanted to, I don't, but if I wanted to, I could put a heater in here and I can make it say so it never freezes in here. But right now, you can see these are all tomatoes, cherry tomatoes. They're really good. I wish you guys could try them. I eat a lot of cherry tomatoes when I pick them. But these are all going to have to come out here in the next month or so. All of these plants will. And I'm going to put in things like carrots, turnips, and lots of salad and things that will grow over the winter, and then I'll be able to pick them next year. But you can see how we trellis them. You can grow a lot of tomatoes, huh? These ones here are storage tomatoes. They're called gold treasures. And these ones are really cool because if I pick this right now, even when it's green, I can leave it on the counter and it'll stay all the way till April. And then it'll be ripe. So a lot of what we try to do as farmers is grow food so that it stays for winter. A lot of the things we eat in winter, like the squash you saw out there, we actually grow in the summer, but then it can store and it will last so that we can sell it and make money so we can keep paying our bills and also so we can have things to eat. And some things take a lot longer and some things are really quick. Like these peppers here, I work with a restaurant in Portland where the chef, he's a big fancy guy, gave me the seeds for these. And these ones take a long time to grow. These ones take 110 days just to get these little peppers. So you better believe I charge them the big bucks for these ones. I don't know if you guys have any questions about the greenhouse, but
We do have a question about how many different types of plants and crops do you grow on your farm?
we grow a lot of different types of crops. We do full, summer, winter vegetables. So we grow tomatoes, peppers, eggplants. We grow potatoes. We grow beans, squash, all the greens. So we kind of, how I help think about it is there's really 3 seasons. Fall is kind of just a shoulder season, but we have winter, and then we have spring and summer crops, and then fall is like right now we're really lucky. Last year at this time I'd already had a hard freeze and all of these plants would have been dead. The year before that, it died even quicker than that. So we're having a really nice year. And I think I'm going to have tomatoes and peppers all the way till probably Thanksgiving, which is really awesome. But if these would have all died, say the end of September, if there was a frost, then I just would have planted turnips sooner. So it's kind of just use nature as your time, your timing for when to plant the new things. But I'd say if you don't count the different types of tomatoes and different types of peppers, we probably grow about 30 to 40 different things on the farm. But, and it's more questions, or I was going to move on to digging up some potatoes.
We have one question about the greenhouses. Why do
Okay.
you put some plants in the greenhouse and other ones outside?
That's a really great question. So all the plants that are in here are actually plants that are not native to Oregon. They're actually tropical plants. So things like tomatoes and peppers, we grow them as an annual. And what an annual plant means that every year and annually we have to plant them over and over again. But these plants are from much warmer climates in South America and Central America originally, and some of them are from places in Asia, like the eggplants, but we grow them as an annual crop. So if I had this outside right now, it would not be loving life because this would like to be, 80, 90 degrees. So we can get it nice and hot in here where they can grow really big and be really happy. And if I had it outside, they'd be a lot smaller. And especially because these tomatoes, say, for example, it stays about like 4 degrees warmer in here at night, just without any heat, just from the residual heat from the sun. So if I shut these doors and say it only gets down to 30 degrees, everything in the greenhouse will survive. And if I put it outside, they'd all get damaged. So greenhouses are pretty cool. We use them mostly to either be early with the crop or to extend a crop because our growing season's pretty good in Oregon, but we are it's a little shorter than other places. And see, some of you guys got some peppers. Takes a long time for peppers to grow here too, but got lots of them. But this is for lunch. Potatoes are really cool because they grow in the summertime, spring, summer. You can plant them in April, early spring. These have all grown. It looks like a weed patch, but underneath each of these rows are tons of potatoes that I really, really need to dig up. But they will last and I can sell them all the way into next year and also have food. So show you guys, these ones here are sunrise. I love digging potatoes. Probably my favorite thing to dig up. It's like treasure hunting. We have a lot of potatoes out here.
Okay, we have a few more questions. One is, what is your favorite thing to grow?
Oh, I don't think I have a favorite thing to grow. I always get, it's a lot of work. So I always get really excited for things and then I kind of get sick of them, like, everybody does. So I'd say you can't beat a fresh tomato. It tastes so much better when you buy a tomato that has been grown in Oregon and is ripe when you pick it because it has a lot more sugar in it and it just tastes completely different. So that's probably one of my favorite things to grow. And I'd also say potatoes are pretty awesome. And then probably also garlic because selfishly, I like to grow all the things I like to eat. So I like to grow lots of onions and garlic and potatoes and squash, but I am a pig and I like to eat everything. So it's hard to pick just one thing. Let's see, this is a different type of potato. These ones guys got, cut these open. Something that really blew my mind There's over 4,000 species, varieties of potatoes that are just native in South America. That means that there's, tens of thousands of types of potatoes that people grow. And believe me, when you decide that you want to grow potatoes and you start looking at all the choices, you can kind of get dizzy because there's so many different types. There's some, I've got some over here too. They're purple on the inside.
Okay, we only have a few minutes left, so we're going to try and get in as many questions as we can. Another question we had was, does the greenhouse speed up or slow down the growing time for the crop?
It definitely speeds it up. Yeah, and the other thing too, it speeds it up and then it makes it last longer. So we planted those tomatoes in there. We planted them in May because we have to make sure that it's past the last frost date. And if I would have had them outside, it probably would have taken over a month longer for them to be ready to fruit. Same with the peppers. And also, like I said, I'll probably have them for a whole other month, at least an extra month. And that's the best part. Because right now I'm selling tomatoes at the farmer's market. Everybody who has a tomato in their garden, they've split, or they're starting to get unhealthy, and those ones I can keep picking. So yeah, definitely faster.
Okay, and then what is the biggest crop that you grow?
Biggest as the most of? That is, I'd say the thing we grow the most of is probably greens. But we really try, because we sell, we give a box that's supposed to have a variety. People don't like it when we just give them too much of one thing. So we try to keep it, where we have a little bit of everything, but we have lots of things so that people don't get bored or sick of what they're eating. So I'd say probably tomatoes. There's a couple things that people really like that, they won't complain about: carrots and tomatoes. But I'm sure you guys know that if you were going to eat all of the food that I gave you and I just gave you 20 pounds of zucchinis, you wouldn't be very happy.
Thank you. And then Miss Pruitt's class wants to know, how many potatoes do you grow, can you grow in a month?
In 1 month, potatoes take a little bit longer than a month. Some varieties take 60 days, which is about 2 months, but a lot of these take more like 100 days. So I plant them at the end of April. You can plant them, or the beginning of April, sorry. You can plant them a little bit earlier sometimes, but it's kind of when you have time to do it, when you're doing this many things. And the first potatoes that I pick are at the end of July. And then I start really picking them in August. But as you can see, most of the potatoes I haven't even dug up yet. So they definitely take a lot. Most things take a lot longer than a month. A month is pretty quick. Things like radishes, arugula, those take like a month or less. Tomatoes, peppers, takes like 3 months.
Okay, and our last question for the day is, how long do you work in a single day?
Oh man, a lot. So it depends. In this in the summertime, the sun's up for a lot longer, so I have to have a lot longer days. But generally speaking, I work from when the sun comes up until the sun goes down every day. But sometimes I take little breaks and I don't work on hard things, but I work usually like 10 hours at least every day. So it's a lot of work, but it's definitely rewarding, and you never have to worry about being hungry.
Okay, and what do you like the most about your job?
I think the thing I like the most about my job is that I get to grow food and know where my food comes from, and I get to feed other people, and they know that their food's coming from a place where it's not full of pesticides and poisons, and they know that it's coming locally, and which means that it's good for the environment and it's good for them. I also like just learning how to do things. All this stuff, I've only been doing this for 6 years and I'm still learning how to do it. And I feel like that's probably the best part about farming is when you work really hard and you start a little seed and it germinates, and then you give it love and you care for it. And then finally at the end, you get to reap the reward of harvesting it and eating it and selling it and having other people enjoy it too.
That's great. Thank you, James, for taking the time to talk with students about all you grow on the farm. And thank you to the students in classrooms for joining us today. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thanks, guys.